deal. Gomes going back, and it's going to be over his head and off the wall. Gomes will go to third base, and the throw there is going to be in time. Tag applied by Brock Holton to get the lead runner in Kendrys Morales. Fly ball struck well to left. Back goes Gomes onto the warning track. He'll leap and make the catch and bang into the wall. He shakes up the standings. 2-1 is line to left. Around from second comes Nava. He will score. It's now 7-3. A little bit of a mess up there for Robbie Thompson, the acting manager for the Seattle Mariners, as he came out to make the pitching change, and he requested the wrong pitcher, first going up with his left arm.
So Medina started to come into the game, the right-hander. They sent him back to the bullpen, and they called for the left-hander. So a mistake there by Thompson.
On the ground right side into right field, a base hit. LeBarnway scores 2 runs in for the Red Sox, and now it's 7-5. Line to left, a base hit for Pedroia. Ellsbury will be waved around. The throw from left from Ackley is going to be not in time, and it's a 1-run game. He's lined into center field, a base hit for Gomes. Victorino being waved around. Game tied, 7-7.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Nava hits it in the air to center field. Deep and far, and that ball's going to land. And the Red Sox have an amazing come-from-behind victory. And what turns out to be a magical night from Fenway.
Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. An amazing night last night from Fenway Park. I'm Don Orsillo, as always, joined by Jerry Remy. Welcome to Red Sox baseball. Jerry, last night really improbable and incredible.
You know, I've been in those situations before now where you're down to a whole bunch of runs going into the last of the ninth inning, and you come into the dugout and you really don't know what to expect. All you say to yourself is put the best at bat possible you can. Try to get on base with a hit, a walk, any way you can do it. See if we can get a couple of those guys on and see if we can get the score closer. Well, the Red Sox did all of that last night, and one of the most amazing comebacks that I've seen a Red Sox team have. It was absolutely incredible. And, you know, to get down to the end of the game like that, a game that Felix Hernandez started, and to put a finish on it the way the Red Sox did was truly amazing.
It was amazing, and the Red Sox will try to keep it going tonight as the momentum right now with the Red Sox. We'll come back and talk about Johnny Gomes and his incredible night last night. The official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. Follow the Hood Blimp on Facebook and Twitter at Hood Blimp. Well, tonight is game one of a three-game series between the Red Sox and the Arizona Diamondbacks, and so far the ballpark still a buzz from last night's game, and incredible, a flair for the dramatic for the Red Sox, but also for Johnny Gomes this season.
Well, it really has been a team effort for the Red Sox, and of course Johnny Gomes didn't get a start in last night's game, but he certainly played a big part in the finish of the game, defensively and offensively. We're going to look at a couple of plays from Gomes. First, a throw out of a runner going to third base. That helped probably save a run right there. Another catch going up against the wall, crashing into the left field wall, probably saving a base runner right there. And then, of course, Gomes comes up and drives in the tying run after a long at bat with a ground ball up the middle. So it just proves to be a major factor in a game. You don't have to start the game, but you got to be there at the finish.
And what a finish it was for the Red Sox last night, and Johnny Gomes continues to contribute for the Red Sox. Well, tonight in game one of this interleague series between the Red Sox and the Diamondbacks, on the mound tonight is John Lester. He comes in looking for his 11th win of the year individually. He's 10-6 with a 4.27 earned run average. His 23rd start is coming up. First pitch from Fenway is coming your way next. Salem 5 Bank and Pedroia's World. Toyota's official site for deals via Toyota.com. Sony's Elysium. And by Southwest Airlines. Well, welcome back to Fenway. It's a beautiful night here tonight for baseball. Blue skies above the stadium. Lights are on, and the Red Sox continue this homestand tonight as they welcome the Arizona Diamondbacks in for 3 games. And the Red Sox fresh off their sweep of the Seattle Mariners. Of course, yesterday the Rays were off while the Red Sox were winning in dramatic fashion. So to head into tonight's 3-game series, the Red Sox have a 1-game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays, now alone atop the American League East to start today's action. And the Red Sox are in their red jerseys tonight on this Friday night to begin the series against the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks come in representing the National League West, and they are 3.5 games back of the Dodgers in the West as they wrapped up their series with first a series that took place in Baltimore, and then they had to go all the way down and play Texas yesterday as a makeup game against the Rangers. They make their way here to Boston and now begin this series against Boston. Of course, Kirk Gibson is the manager of the Diamondbacks and was kind of a wide open West, but the Dodgers right now playing the best baseball out there as LA all of a sudden has won 8 of their last 10 games. Let's send it down to Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, after last night's exhilarating win, we have not one but 2 Geico quotes of the night. The first one coming from Jake Peavy, who will not forget his first night as a member of the Red Sox. He said, "What a first night in uniform. Thank you for all the welcomes, and I can't tell you how excited I am to play for the city, team, and great fans." And the second one comes from manager John Farrell, and I think he summed it up best when he said, in a word, it was magical. Don?
Well, an incredible night here last night from Fenway Park, and very improbable at the time, as really didn't have anything going. And I was thinking, as you're driving home last night, Jerry, thinking about Felix Hernandez, how many times do you think he has had leads that he has left a ball game in and had not that happen, but at least lose the decision?
Can you imagine sitting in that clubhouse and watching that happen to you? I mean, and not getting a W out of that game?
Wow. Now the Red Sox take the field tonight as they do. Let's check out the Arizona Diamondbacks starting 9. Leading it off in center field is A.J. Pollock with Aaron Hill, the former Toronto Blue Jay, at second base. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Martin Prado, the former Atlanta Brave, at third base, with former Red Sox outfitter Cody Ross in left field. Jason Kubel is the DH. Will Nieves does the catching. Geraldo Parra in right field bats 8th. And Didi Gregorius, fun shortstop to watch. He's batting 9th. Let's take a look at the season numbers for tonight's starter. John Lester is on the hill. He's 23rd start of the year. He's 10-6 with a 4.27 earned run average, 119 strikeouts to 47 walks, and opponents hitting at .256 against John Lester.
Now the Red Sox defense is brought to you on NESN by Southwest Airlines. They are 7th in the American League with 59 errors on the season. Brock Holt will be at third base. Stephen Drew, the shortstop. Dustin Pedroia at second. Mike Napoli, the first baseman. Left to right, Daniel Nava, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Shane Victorino. And Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching for John Lester.
Umpiring crew tonight, Jeff Kellogg has a play calling the balls and strikes with Eric Cooper at first base, Paul Schreiber at second base, and Chad Fairchild is the umpire at third. Tonight's game is available in Spanish by pushing the SAP button on your television remote. Enjoy the game.
Buenas noches, amigos.
And very comfortable conditions here tonight at Fenway. 80 degrees to start the ball game. Breeze out to right and 13 miles per hour. Partly cloudy, the forecast for tonight, as the Red Sox welcome the Diamondbacks to town. And Boston continuing this homestand before the Red Sox are set to head out on the road for a lot of August. Well, A.J. Pollock to lead it off here for the Diamondbacks, sitting at .251. 6 home runs and 29 runs batted in. Diamondbacks are 55-53, 2 games over 500. 3.5 games back of the LA Dodgers in the National League West. First pitch of the ball game from Lester is in there for strike 1, and we are underway.
Now the Diamondbacks are 5th in the league in average in the National League and 5th in the league in runs scored.
Pollock fouls it off to the right out of play. Appeared in 31 games last year with the Diamondbacks, mainly at AAA in Reno. Ended up being the PCL playoff MVP last year and the AAA National Championship game MVP. Now this year spending the bulk of the year here with the Diamondbacks and in the majors. That's outside for ball 1.
John, Lester has only faced the Diamondbacks once, and that was way back in 2010, so a completely different looking ball club than the last time he faced Arizona.
Line foul into the seats. And Cody Ross back here with the Diamondbacks. Ended up signing with the Diamondbacks during the offseason as a free agent, not returning to Boston. There's a 1-2. This one fouled back. And what was a very difficult season, he had a pretty good year and was fun to watch last year, Cody Ross. And I thought he would re-sign here. I really did. I thought he'd be back with the Red Sox, but it did not work out as it turned out. He got a very good opportunity in Arizona.
Yeah, very good opportunity, and had a nice year for the Red Sox, and one of the good guys from a year ago on that ball club.
Ended up with 22 home runs last year for the Red Sox. 1-2 pitch is outside. And it's Pollock now, and Aaron Hill waiting next. Saw a lot of Aaron Hill over the years with the Toronto Blue Jays. 2-2 pitch. And Pollock hits it in the air to right. Victorino going back makes the catch. He'd started in. Had a tough read on that, but in the end gets the job done as Pollock is retired.
Lester basically staying away from Pollock with almost every pitch in that at bat. The fastball away, the line drive, but Shane Victorino tracks it down for the Red Sox.
And John Lester's key matchup tonight is brought to you by People's United Bank. And Hill just 2 for 32 in his career against John Lester. 9 strikeouts mixed in. In there for strike one. Hill overall at 276, 5 homers and 19 runs batted in.
Aaron Hill getting all those bats as a member of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Total of 7 seasons as a member of the Toronto Blue Jays. This is on the ground and through into left field, a base hit. So virtually no success in his career against Lester, but he gets a base hit here in the first inning.
Fastball inside that time by John, and Aaron Hill out in front of it for that ground ball between third and short and the base hit. First time Lester has come inside with the fastball. I think the ball was supposed to be away the way Saltalamacchia was set up.
There is Paul Goldschmidt, and he is hitting at 300 with 24 home runs and 86 runs batted in. Both the home runs and RBIs are career highs for Goldschmidt.
He's had a little trouble recently, 3 for his last 28. This Arizona ball club, not one that runs a lot. Hill at first base only has 1 steal on the season.
Goldschmidt this year named to his first National League All-Star team, was 1 for 2 with a double in the game. And a swing and a miss, 1-1.
Good changeup that time from Lester, keeping it down in the zone.
Fly ball foul and out of play, 1-2. I want to remind you to get set for every Red Sox game on NESN with Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by DCU. NESN's pregame coverage of the Sox begins an hour before every game. DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union, banking the DCU way. Goldschmidt signing a 5-year contract with an option for 2019, so he's going to be in a Diamondbacks uniform for a while. He was a 2009 draft pick by the Diamondbacks, and having a great year for him so far this season. He bats out of the 3 spot for Arizona. High drive to deep left field for Goldschmidt, and that ball is gone into the first row of the monster seats. A 2-run home run for Paul Goldschmidt. His 25th home run of the year, and Arizona takes a 2-0 lead.
Looked like a high changeup that time from Lester. The ball stays up in the zone and out over the plate. Good job staying back by Goldschmidt, and their 2-run homer. Number 25, RBIs 87 and 88.
So a 2-run shot for Goldschmidt, and it is a 2-0 Arizona lead. Martin Prado, former Atlanta Braves, standing in. 265, 9 homers and 42 runs batted in. As Prado takes strike one. Set career highs in hits with 186. Doubles with 42 in Atlanta last year. Led the National League with 60 multi-hit games. In the dirt, it's a ball and a strike. Cody Ross waiting on deck. 1 out, bases empty here in the Diamondbacks' first inning. Broken back grounder back to the mound, and Lester will field and throw on a hop to first, but it's picked by Napoli. Fortunately for John Lester, that's the second out of the inning.
John at times has trouble throwing to first base, even on pickoff attempts to first base. This time he gets the slow roller and throws on a bounce over to Napoli, kind of a side-on throw. And Napoli goes down to one knee to make sure he's able to make the catch.
So 2 down for Cody Ross. 271, 6 homers and 32 runs batted in. He's enjoyed interleague so far this year. Hitting at 387 in interleague play so far. As he takes a look at strike one. Last year, finished the year hitting at 267 for the Red Sox, 34 doubles, and 22 home runs and 81 runs batted in for Boston last year. Played in 130 games, and signed with Arizona at the end of December of this past offseason. Now towards right center field on the run is Ellsbury, and Jacoby's not going to get there. Plays it on a hop back on the warning track as Ross into second base, sliding with a double.
Cody Ross now with a 4-game hitting streak as he hits it to the left of Jacoby Ellsbury. It looks like a changeup again, and not a bad one. It was down, it was away, but Cody Ross going with it. And Ellsbury cannot catch up to that except the one on one bounce. And Cody Ross in a scoring position at second base with 2 outs.
So Ross in scoring position, and here is Jason Kubel, former Minnesota Twin. 226, 5 homers, 27 runs batted in. Lester backs off, time called.
Well, the Red Sox are in a shift, and there's really nobody at all near Cody Ross, and that's why Lester backed off. Now, looks like Drew will take a few more steps closer to the second base bag.
Kubel has really struggled lately at the plate. He is 4 for his last 46, hitting at .087. 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position since June the 30th. This is after a year in which he set career highs last year with 30 home runs. Fouled off to the left out of play, 1-1. Kubel takes ball 2, 2-1. And John Lester up to 25 pitches in this first inning. He's given up a 2-run home run. It's Cody Ross at second base after he doubled with 2 outs in the inning. Popped up foul ground as Brock Holt heads over towards the Diamondbacks dugout, and he'll make the play. He's into a somersault after making the grab. That one came back towards the infield surface, but a 2-run shot in the inning off John Lester as the Diamondbacks on top by 2. Back at Fenway Park as the Arizona Diamondbacks, thanks to Paul Goldschmidt, have taken a 2-0 advantage on his 2-run shot. And for the Diamondbacks, Randall Delgado is on the mound tonight. His 10th appearance, 9th start, 3-3 with a 2.85 earned run average. This number is brought to you by Nissan. Opponents hitting at 283 against him, and last Friday against San Diego, complete game shutout for him. 3 strikeouts and a walk. He's got a 2-0 lead as he takes the hill here in the bottom of the first. And Jacoby Ellsbury leads it off. Ellsbury at 301, 5 homers and 35 runs batted in. Fly ball to deep left center field. Pollock going back, but it's going to be off the wall. And the ricochet is nasty as it heads out to center. Ellsbury will head to third base. Throw will be late. He's got himself a triple.
Pollock not sure about that left field wall and how the ball is going to carry him off it. He gets in too tight to the wall and the ball gets by him. Once it does, it's 3 bases for Jacoby Ellsbury. There's Pollock in tight on that wall, and that ball gets by him, backed up by Parra, the right fielder, but by that time it's too late.
Now tied for first in triples with Mike Trout in the American League with 8 now. He's at third base to start the bottom of the first inning. And here's Shane Victorino, who takes strike 1. Victorino hitting at 284, 6 homers, 31 runs driven in. This is a big part of last night's come from behind victory for the Red Sox, driving in a pair in the 9th inning. Also had a home run last night. No 2-pitch, he'll miss. A good series for him against Seattle in the 3 games, going 7 for 15. On the ground to first base. Schmidt looked him back and now will tag the bag as Goldschmidt able to get it quickly, and Ellsbury stopped in his tracks and got back to third. One down.
The ball hit so hard by Victorino that Goldschmidt, when he took a look at Ellsbury at third base, Jacoby decided, I better not try to go. He's going to throw me out at home. Usually that's a gimme run right there, but the ball was hit so hard, and Goldschmidt took a peek at Jacoby, then takes you out at first base.
One down, Ellsbury at third as Pedroia takes strike one. Dustin at 296, 8 homers and 65 runs batted in. Dustin had an RBI single and scored the winning run in the 6-run 9th inning last night. He's always had very good numbers in interleague play. On the outside corner for strike two.
See that fastball registering pretty consistently at about 90 miles an hour for Delgado. Also throws the breaking ball and a split-fingered fastball.
Fresh off his first career shutout and complete game. A 10-0 win July 26th against the Padres. Inside almost nicked Pedroia, and it's 2-2. Well, 6 starts for Delgado. 5 of them have been what is considered quality starts, and he's 3-2 with a 2.27 earned run average. Right now, 14 2/3 inning scoreless streak, but he's got a runner at third as he's able to strike out Pedroia. First strikeout for Delgado, 2 down. Let's check out the Red Sox starting line. It's brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Jacoby Ellsbury in center. Shea Victorino in right with Dustin Pedroia at second base. David Ortiz at DH. Mike Napoli at first base. Daniel Nava in left field with Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching. Stephen Drew at short and Brock Holt at third base. Ellsbury at third base. He's been there to begin the inning, but now he's there with 2 outs in the inning. There's Big Papi. Ortiz hits it high and deep to center field. Pollock going back at the wall. It is gone. 2-run home run for Big Papi, and just like that, game's tied at 2.
Well, David did not have a big home run month in the month of July. Looking for more in the month of August. First pitch fastball right down the middle, and Ortiz to straightaway center field. Number 21 on the season. Picks up his 70th and 71st RBI.
Well, Mike Napoli now batting with the bases empty. The Red Sox have answered and tied this game. Sox have now hit 115 home runs this season. With it, S&S Express donated another $500 to the pediatric trauma program at Boston Children's Hospital. It brings the season total to $57,500. S&S Express committed to helping the cause. Mike Napoli at 257 on the year. 14 homers and 64 runs batted in. Napoli had last night off and a pretty quiet series against Seattle. Was 1 for 9 in the series, and so far 1 for 13 on the homestand. Foul tip, full count.
Napoli looking fastball on that 3-1 count. Did not get it. Get the changeup.
Rolled off to the right. We'll do it again. 3-2. Napoli fouling it off at the plate. Leadoff triple by Ellsbury with 2 outs in the inning. David Ortiz hits a 2-run shot. Here's a 3-2. Napoli strikes out to end the inning. Now David Ortiz gets his 21st home run of the year and ties the game at 2 aside. John Lester back on the mound again. It is the bottom third of the D-backs order is only Evis, Geraldo Pera, and Didi Gregorius to bat in the inning. Evis, the Diamondbacks catcher, as he takes strike 1. Evis at .354. No homers and 14 runs batted in. Last 26 games he's hit at .380. And a little flare here into shallow left. Out goes Drew. Can't get it. And it falls in for a base hit. A leadoff single for Wilnie Evis. Well, more than 23 Grammy Awards, 67 million albums sold. Music icons Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake bring their Legends of the Summer Stadium tour to Fenway Park on August 10th and 11th. Limited numbers of additional premium seats have been added for these 2 great shows. Tickets for these seats are on sale now at the Orpheum Theater box office, livenation.com, or by calling 800-514-3849. Leadoff single for Nieves. Geraldo Pera stands in, hitting at .269. 7 homers and 28 runs batted in. Barr showing bunt, but pulls back and takes ball 1.
That base hit by Nieves. He was actually jammed by a cut fastball from Lester, but able to drop it out between left field and shortstop for the base hit.
Fly ball to center field. Ellsbury tracks it and makes the catch for the first out of the second inning. Let's send it down to Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, our AT&T text poll question of the night last night was asking fans at home to vote on their favorite baseball movie of all time. We gave 4 options, but apparently 4 options weren't enough. So, Jerry Remy, you asked for it, and here we go. We are doing a playoffs. Last night's winners were Field of Dreams and Major League. Tonight, 4 more options. We'll do a championship round tomorrow night. So fans, vote 536, 536. Select A for The Sandlot, B for Fever Pitch, C, A League of Their Own, and D for Moneyball. We're going to track these results all night long and give you the final results during NESN Sports Today later tonight.
This is getting exciting.
Yeah, the championship's tomorrow.
Here's Didi Gregorius, who swings and misses for strike 1. He's third among rookies in average in the National League, coming in at 277. On base percentage at 345. Third among rookies in the NL. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Entered the year as the Diamondbacks' number 3 prospect. .277 overall, 5 homers, 19 runs batted in. It seemed in the last 2 outings for John Lester that there were fewer cutters that he was using the last 2 times out.
He's thrown a couple in the game tonight. The base hit to Nieves was a cut fastball, and maybe 2 others so far. I think in the last outing he told me he threw about 4 the whole game.
Gregorius with a swing and a miss, strikes out. First strikeout of the night for John Lester. 2 down.
Well, there's a cutter right there from Lester. Starts it inside to the left-handed hitter, and then picks up the inside corner on the swing and miss. The pitch zone on NESN is brought to you by Amica. Amica Insurance, great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance.
First strikeout of the night for John Lester is out number 2. The second inning. And now the second time through for Lester of this Diamondbacks order. A.J. Pollock, the batter. And time called. Bunt bid, and it's down the third baseline with Holt deep at third. He has no chance at getting Pollock, who drops down the bunt for a base hit.
Yeah, unexpected there with 2 outs. Playing back was Holt, and very good bunt by Pollock down the third baseline. You can see how deep Holt is. Not expecting the bunt with 2 outs, and really didn't have to make a perfect one there. Just get it down on the grass.
Two on, 2 down, and Aaron Hill coming up. He singled in the first inning. Set the table for Paul Goldschmidt, who hit the 2-run home run. Line and caught at third base by Holt. 2 are stranded by the Diamondbacks. Score tied 2-2. the 1988 Morgan Magic. Ben Cherington also discusses a trade for Jake Peavy. And we look back at the futures at Fenway. Catch all that and more in the Ultimate Red Sox Show Sunday at noon. Well, into the bottom of the second inning we go. Daniel Nava, Jared Saltalamacchia, and Stephen Drew expected to bat in the inning. Nava takes a strike over the outside corner. 285, 10 homers, and 53 runs batted in. A walk-off single in his second plate appearance of the ninth inning last night. First career walk-off RBI for Daniel Nava in last night's come-from-behind victory. On the ground and off the mound. Gregorius throws to first base, and he is safe as Nava is able to beat it out.
A little lackadaisical there on the part of Gregorius. Almost like he felt like he had more time than he actually did, and then made a bad throw to first base on rushing it. There's the ball bouncing off the mound. And really no rush right there, and ends up making a bad throw.
Yes.
Probably go as an error, I would think.
Charged with the error. So Nava aboard on the error for Gregorius, and here is Saltalamacchia. He's trying to bunt with a big shift on here, and he drops it down foul. Not the complete shift, but they're playing him to pull.
Yeah, another case where all he's going to do is get it down on the grass, and he's got himself a base hit because of the shift. Or the extreme pull position that they're in. Third baseman at the shortstop area.
Saltalamacchia has now caught 11 of the first 14 games since the All-Star break. And overall, 67 of the last 83 Red Sox games. Safe to say he's done the bulk of the catching as they check on Nava at first base. Nava crosses over to get back to the bag.
Nava yet to have a steal this season. Has been thrown out twice.
Ball 3-1.
See the catch in the Evers here, taking that mask off and yelling some stuff out to Delgado.
Second 3-ball count for Delgado of this game as Kirk Gibson looks on. Entering his fourth season, third full campaign as the manager of the Diamondbacks. High fly ball to deep left field for Saltalamacchia, and it is high off the wall. Nava heading for third base, and he'll be stopped there as Ross gets it out. And it's a double high on the wall for Jared Saltalamacchia.
Now that's an area of the ballpark we don't see Saltalamacchia go to very often, right down that left field line. Really didn't miss a home run by very much. You see this ball slicing? It stays in fair territory, high off the wall. Initially, Butterfield was waving home Daniel Nava, then put the brakes on. Stop sign goes up, and Nava remains at third base. Doesn't want to take the chance with nobody out in the inning.
So second and third, nobody out, and Stephen Drew coming up. Chance here for the Sox to jump on top with the game tied 2-2 here in the last of the second. Drew starting the night hitting at .230. With 7 homers and 38 runs batted in. He had the game-winning hit in the 15th inning against Seattle Wednesday night. It's a fly ball to center field. This will be plenty deep enough as A.J. Pollock back to make the catch. Tagging at third base is Nava. Saltalamacchia tags at second. Run scores. Red Sox take a 3-2 lead. Stephen Drew's sac fly puts the Red Sox on top.
A good productive out right there. If there is such a thing by Stephen Drew, you get the run home, and you also get Saltalamacchia to third base with less than 2 outs. Fly ball that continues to carry out in center field. Nava has no problem scoring. Saltalamacchia tagging. He gets to third base. Ball cut off by Gregorius. And no throw, just runs it back into the infield.
Infield in now all the way around with 1 out and Saltalamacchia at third base for Brock Holt. And Holt hits a fly ball to center field. Back goes Pollock again. Makes the catch. Tagging from third is Saltalamacchia. His score, the 4th Red Sox run of the night. 4-2 Boston.
Very good situational hitting by the Red Sox. First by Drew, then by Holt. Get a couple of runs in, even though they made outs. You're up there with a man at third base. You're looking for something you can lift in the air deep enough to get that run home. Both guys able to do it.
Now second time through for the Red Sox against Delgado. Jacoby Ellsbury tripled and scored in the first inning. Now he comes up with the bases empty in the second and takes ball 1.
Curveball outside, and that might have been the first one that Delgado has thrown in this game tonight. It's basically been fastball changeup.
Rolled over foul outside of first. Charles Nagy, the pitching coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Delgado's been so good lately, but giving up 4 runs here in an inning in 2/3. This one foul back into the seats. In there for strike 3. Ellsbury didn't think so and flips the bat. But the Red Sox get 2 runs and take a 4-2 lead. 4-2. Red Sox now have the lead over the Diamondbacks as we head to the top half of the third inning. Paul Goldschmidt leading it off here for the D-backs. There's ball one outside. Goldschmidt hit a 2-run home run in the first inning. His 25th home run of the year. Fourth trip to Fenway Park for Arizona. In there for strikes, even the count of 1-1. They swept the Red Sox back in 2002 in the first game they were here. Red Sox took 2 out of 3 from Arizona in 2008. And the Red Sox took all 3 games in 2010 against Arizona. Red Sox have been there during the regular season once. That was in 2007. And Red Sox dropped 2 out of 3. Grounded fouls have been out there for a few exhibition games at the end of spring training.
Yeah, very nice ballpark in Arizona. Very warm this time of year out there, but it's a dry heat, as they say.
Never been there with the roof open, I know that.
No.
And too warm the times that we have been there. Well, last year's National League Manager of the Year, Kirk Gibson, looking on. 2-2 pitch is in there for strike 3. Second K of the night for John Lester.
Well, pinpoint control that time from Lester. Goes down and away with the fastball with 2 strikes. First strikeout was on a cut fastball. This strike on the straight fastball.
One down now for Martin Prado. Grounded back to the mound, and John Lester in the first inning. Lester tried to pick up the corner but missed, and it's 2-0 now to Prado. Martin Prado, 29 years old. First season with the D-backs. It's part of a 7-player deal that brought him from Atlanta to Arizona. It's in there for strike 1, 2-1. He's been a member of the Braves since 2006. Off balance swing there, 2-2.
Another good changeup from Lester. This one able to keep down in his zone, down and away from Prado. I'm talking about Arizona. They had some travel, didn't they, from St. Pete to Texas to Boston?
Yes, all within a
lot of late arrivals there.
Short period of time. There's a drive to deep left field. Back goes Nava, looking up, and that ball is going to be high off the wall. Karen played by Ellsbury, and Lester fortunate that stayed in the yard as Prado takes it high off the green monster and left.
Yeah, he did a nice job of hitting a fastball that was down and in. And kind of golfing this ball off that left field wall. Look at the location of that pitch, down and in. And it looked like when it left the bat it was going to be out of the ballpark, but hits right at the top of the wall, and Prado standing on second base with the double.
Well, now Prado in scoring position now at second base, and here's Cody Ross. Ross able to double towards a triangle out in right center field in the first inning. Well, John Lester has performed well at home. He's 4-0 with a 2.95 earned run average in 8 games at Fenway this season. As he misses outside, 2-0. Compared to 6-6 with a 5.14 ERA away from Fenway. He's going to get a visit here from Saltalamacchia. Well, for every Red Sox game that goes into extra innings or the Sox get a save, CVS Pharmacy will make a donation to Boston Children's Hospital towards their $25,000 donation this season. Sun setting. There's the Red Sox and Arizona Diamondbacks play game 1 of this 3-game series. Ross sends it through the right side into right field, a base hit. Prado being waved around. He will score the 3rd Arizona run of the night. And it's a 1-run game. Red Sox on top 4-3 on the 2nd hit of the night for Cody Ross.
And the 2nd time he's hit a changeup. First time for a double. This time on the ground to second base to drive in a run. Ross picks up RBI number 33 on the season. So he's got a 2-for-2 night going.
Well, the shift coming here for the Red Sox with Jason Kubel coming up. And it is Brock Holt who comes over from third base to the right side of the infield this time. Pedroia playing closer to second base, and Holt now on the right side between Pedroia and Napoli. Kubel in his 2nd season with the Diamondbacks after signing as a free agent. Spending the rest of his career in Minnesota with the Twins. His best year in Minnesota had 28 home runs in 2009 and 103 runs batted in, and hit an even 300 that year for the Twins. Swing and a miss, 1-2. If I'm not mistaken, Jerry, I think he had the first home run ever at Target Field.
I think you're right. That was against the Boston Red Sox.
Yes.
We opened the season there. We opened up that ballpark.
That opening day, and I'm pretty sure he had the first home run there. Lays off, and it's 2-2. Strike 3 call. Right on the corner, and Kubel didn't like it at all. He'll take with him the 3rd strikeout for John Lester of the night.
It's a pitch that he kind of gave up on because it was the cut fastball from Lester. He thought it was going to be inside, and watched the little cut right at the end that brings it to the corner. Kubel doesn't like the call, but certainly looked like a strike on the Amica pitch zone.
Two outs. Cody Ross still at first base. Will Nieves singled in the 2nd inning. He's got one of now 7 hits for Arizona off John Lester so far tonight. That's in 2 2/3 innings. Saltalamacchia again out to talk to John Lester.
Now Lester called him out this time for a conversation.
Take your gas savings deep. Sign up for the Cumberland Farms Smart Pay check link and save 10 cents on every gallon every day. People have saved over $2 million already, so join for free at cumberlandfarms.com. 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Cody Ross at first base, a run in. There goes Ross as Nieves takes a pitch inside. Throw from Saltalamacchia. Not in time. Very close at second base, but Cody Ross able to steal second.
Well, the throw is right on target by Saltalamacchia, but Cody Ross able to beat it, pick up his 3rd steal of the season, and get in a scoring position. Just barely. And Pedroia with that sweep tag and a very close play at second base.
So now the tying run in scoring position as this will bounce in. Saltalamacchia able to keep it close to him. Arizona kind of in the middle of the pack offensively and pitching wise in the National League, but defensively very good. Only the Cardinals have made fewer errors than the Diamondbacks have defensively this season. As a team, they hit a .255. 2-1 and a swing and a miss. 2-2. Davis rolls it over foul. We'll do it again. 2-2. Well, just 2 hits in his last 11 at bats in this spot, but still overall 406 with runners in scoring position. Nieves fouls it off. Lester winning his last 2 starts at home against Tampa Bay and at Baltimore. At a 4-2 lead, it is now 4-3. Tying run at second base and Ross. There's a 2-2 pitch. And he struck him out. Ends up striking out the side. Diamondbacks get a run. 4-3 Red Sox at the end of 2.5. Bottom of the third inning. And now it's time to take a look at tonight's Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Coors Light. Red Sox had their 11th walk-off win of the season last night. Lead the majors in this category. It's the first time they've had this many in a season since 1978. The franchise record for walk-off wins stands at 13, set back in 1940. There's Shane Victorino to lead it off in the bottom of the third inning. Victorino, Pedroia, and Ortiz here in the third. Shane grounded out to first base. Paul Goldschmidt in the first inning. Now it's a fly ball to right. Parra will move back into his right to make the catch for the first out of the bottom of the third inning. We'll check in on the poll results tonight. And Sandlot right now jumping out to a pretty big jump right out of the gate.
Yeah, your fever pitch, though, Don, is right in there at 25%.
We've had a record number of voters tonight already. First pitch strike into Dustin Pedroia. Struck out swinging in the first inning.
Nothing like election year, isn't it? It's unbelievable. Last night, tonight.
It's intense.
Finals tomorrow.
Line and caught. Run of Prado at third base for the second out of the inning.
Pedroia with a rocket to third base, but Prado just has to stand right there and make the catch. Not even a crossover step. Ball hit so hard by Pedroia.
Well, here comes David Ortiz for his second bat of the night against Delgado. David with a two-run shot in the first inning. His 21st home run of the year. And David's home run from the first. Center fielder A.J. Pollock this time over towards right center for David to pull in the outfield, and puts the shift on here for the Diamondbacks. Fouled off to the left. Covidien, delivering innovative healthcare products across the globe, is a proud sponsor of the Red Sox Foundation.
First fastball Ortiz has seen in this at bat. It was 3 straight changeups. And then finally the fastball. It was the fastball he hit for a home run.
There's strike two. First full count for Randall Delgado. And he strikes out Ortiz. A fastball at 94 miles an hour against him. 4 Ks for Delgado. A 4-3 Red Sox lead. Well, Daniel Day Kim here at the ballpark tonight at Fenway. Of course, in Lost and one of your favorite shows, Jerry, Hawaii Five-0.
I love that show. Terrific show. He does a great job in it.
He was also in For Love of the Game, since we're talking about baseball movies.
Really?
Yes. Pitch in there for strike one.
You know, because I like that show so much, I should send him a hot dog. What do you think?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Him and his group?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Fly ball to center field. Jacoby Ellsbury going back in front of the wall to make the catch at the wall. So Parra gives it a ride to center, but Ellsbury back there to make the catch. NESN's coverage of Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Eastern Bank. You always put others first. Wouldn't it be nice if your bank did the same thing with products that make life easier and a commitment to helping those in need? Here, you're first. Eastern Bank. So Parra gives it a ride to center, but Ellsbury back there for the first out here, the fourth inning. D.J. Gregorius has struck out in his only at bat tonight out of the number 9 spot. And he'll take strike one. Oh, and 2.
Lester trying to have a nice easy inning here in the fourth. It's really been kind of a struggle for him in the first 3 innings.
D.D. Gregorius sharing time with former Oakland A Cliff Pennington at shortstop. One two from Lester. Kind of yanks that outside. Little slip at the end of the delivery. 2-2. Foul tip that glances off. Saltalamacchia.
Tried to get him to chase the high fastball that time, just tipping it and right out of the glove of Salty.
In the dirt, glancing off. Saltalamacchia, full count. Next pitch will be the 70th of the night for John Lester through 3 1/3 innings. Swing and a foul tip held on to by Saltalamacchia. 5th strikeout for John Lester. 2 down in the inning.
After a number of breaking balls away, back inside with the fastball to pick up the strikeout. The last whiff was brought to you by Head and Shoulders.
Second time Gregorius is down by way of the K. 2 outs in the 4th inning, and here's A.J. Pollock. Dropped down a bunt single his last time up down the third base line. Foul, and he's down 0-2. He did 31 games last year in the big leagues at 247 for Arizona. He had 5 different stints last year in the big leagues. Aaron Hill waiting on deck with 2 outs here in the top of the 4th inning. Lester's 1-2 pitch. Pollock fouls it back, stays alive. Lester has not had a 1-2-3 inning in his outing yet. He's got the first 2 outs here of the 4th inning. Rolls it over foul. We'll do it again, 1-2. Pollock fouls off another, and this at bat will extend to his 7th pitch. Lester has retired the last 4 Diamondbacks in a row, and 3 of the last 4 by way of the K. 1-2 pitch again. On the outside corner for strike 3. Strikeout number 6 for John Lester. It's a 4-3 Sox lead. Bottom of the 4th inning back at Fenway Park. Red Sox have a 4-3 lead. Mike Napoli leading it off here for the Red Sox in the bottom of the 4th inning. And this is back up the middle, off the glove. And into center field of Aaron Hill, who was diving. The second baseman was right in behind second. And it glances off his glove and into center. Mike Napoli has a base hit.
Ball hit very hard by Napoli, first by the pitcher, and then off the glove of Aaron Hill, who was playing over at the shortstop position, right under the foot of Delgado. So Napoli has himself the base hit.
3rd time in 4 innings the Red Sox have had the lead runner on. The first 2 times that runner scored. There's Daniel Nava, reached on an error in the 2nd inning committed by Didi Gregorius. So his second look at Randall Delgado. He'll take strike one. Well, the first strike in, they shift here defensively. Gregorius left on the left side of the infield. Martin Prado, third baseman, comes to the right side, and he's closest to second base. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. Foul tipped it. Well, the overhead views tonight are provided by the Hood Blimp. This summer, try new Hood Harvey bars. Each bar is made with creamy Hood ice cream and is covered in rich chocolate coating. Learn more at hood.com. Napoli at first base with a single to begin the inning, and Nava down on the count 0-2. Nava gets hit with a pitch. 0-2, comes inside and gets him.
Nava just trying to spin away from that fastball that was inside. He had nowhere to go. Takes it off the thigh. So the Red Sox with a couple of base runners and nobody out. I'm thinking about that Hood Blimp. I wonder if it checked out all the traffic around Boston today.
Wow.
It was brutal. You got caught in traffic today. How long did it take you to get here?
Well, normally takes me an hour.
Yeah.
Door to door. Today was in the 2.5 hour range.
Oh. No wonder you're in a bad mood tonight.
I'm in a great mood, actually. 2 on, nobody out. Jared Saltalamacchia doubled in the second inning. There's strike one. That is the 12th time that Daniel Nava has been hit by a pitch this season. That ties the league lead. That is going to miss. 1-1. First two have reached for the Red Sox here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Fouled off the catcher that time, Nieves. Salty went the other way his first time up with a double high off the wall in left field. Didn't miss a home run by very much. Swinging a foul tip at the plate. Still 1-2.
And Delgado staying with the off-speed pitch, the changeup right here, and Saltalamacchia just getting a piece of it, and right out of the webbing of the glove of Nieves to catch it.
Just inside. 2-2. Single by Napoli to begin the inning. Then Delgado hit Nava. And the Red Sox have runners at first and second with nobody out. And a swing and a miss. Saltalamacchia strikes out. That's 5 Ks now for Delgado. And the first out here of the fourth inning. Ever find yourself guessing what you think is going to happen during every at bat? Well, there's an app for that. MLB Preplay is the official prediction game of Major League Baseball. and it's free to download on iOS and Android. Download now at NESN.com/preplay and play along during every Red Sox game. 2 on, 1 out, and Stephen Drew, the batter, had a sac fly in the second inning. Picked up his 39th RBI in a Red Sox uniform. The former Arizona Diamondback. Delgado going to work on the landing area. A little bit low to Drew for ball 1.
Yeah, basically gone fastballs and changeups from Delgado. I think maybe just 1 or 2 curveballs so far in this game tonight.
Two and 0. The Evans does a fair amount of coaching from in behind the dish.
Yes, he does. Very active. The kind of spunk you like to see from behind the plate.
In there for strike 1, 2 and 1.
There's the changeup again. No fastball right there for Drew on the 2-0 count.
Outside for ball 3. First 2 reach, and Delgado trying to work his way around it. He strikes out Saltalamacchia and has fallen behind Drew as Brock Holt waits on deck. There's ball 4, and the bases are loaded with 1 out in the inning. That's just the first walk given up by Delgado. That's his coverage of Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Eastern Bank. You put your family first, job first, even your team first. Isn't it time someone put you first? Eastern Bank does just that with products like Eastern Free Checking. Here, you're first. Eastern Bank. Well, a single, a hit batter, and a walk wrapped around a strikeout in this inning, and the Red Sox have them loaded as they try to add on to their 4-3 advantage here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Brock Holt getting his second at bat against Delgado. And a sac fly in the second inning. So he takes strike 1. Ball and a strike to Holt. Napoli at third base, Nava at second base, Drew at first, and 1 out. Popped up, foul. That'll get back into the seats. I still don't know where it is, I think, Jerry.
I don't think they found it yet.
Delgado backs off. Big spot here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Red Sox have them loaded, 1 out. Holt grounds one back to the mound. Delgado is going to come home. They'll get the force out there. He was looking around, I think, thinking about going other places, but then decided to come home with it. And they get the lead runner in Napoli on a force out for the second out.
Yeah, I think for a split second, Don, he forgot how many outs there were. He was going to go to first base with this. Then he decides to come home and still has time to get Napoli at home plate. Well, it's kind of strange by Delgado, but he does get the one out. If he had come home immediately, they might have had a double play to get out of the inning.
So bases reloaded, 2 down in the inning for Jacoby Ellsbury. He tripled in the first inning and scored the Red Sox first run. And struck out looking in the second. It's been a very good season with the bases loaded for Jacoby Ellsbury, 6 for 9. Rolling away, 2-0. This is filled with Red Sox here, 2 down in the inning. And Ellsbury in a good spot here in the hitter's count, 2-0. Ellsbury hits a fly ball to shallow left. Late break from Ross, and he'll get there. A time to recover. Hung up long enough, and somehow Delgado gets out of the jam. 4-3 Red Sox at the end of 4. Lead over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Red Sox pretty good opportunity, but somehow Delgado wiggled his way out of the jam in the bottom of the 4th inning, so remains a 1-run lead for John Lester, who deals with Aaron Hill to begin things in the 5th. Hill 1 for 2, single and a run scored in the first inning, and last time lined out sharply to Brock Holt at third base. Two and 0. Tampa Bay Rays tonight hosting the San Francisco Giants. They're in the 5th inning at the Trop. Game tied 1-1. We'll be keeping an eye on that tonight. Of course, The Rays are just a game back of the Red Sox heading into tonight's action. Hill takes a 2-1 for ball 3. Lester has not walked anybody in tonight's game. He has 6 strikeouts. This is driven towards the gap in left center field, and that's going to get down and one hop the wall. Back to play it is Nava. To second base goes Hill, and he'll get there standing with a leadoff double here in the 5th inning.
Well, we told you at the beginning of the game that Hill had been 2 for 32 against John Lester. He is 2 for 3 tonight, and the out was a line drive out to third base. Gets the fastball this time, finds that gap in left center field, has the leadoff double here in the 5th inning.
And the Red Sox could not score in the bottom of the 4th inning. The base is loaded with 1 out and could not score. Now the Diamondbacks have the tying run in scoring position at second base with nobody out, and Paul Goldschmidt, the batter. He had a 2-run home run in the 1st inning, then struck out looking in the 3rd. His home run, his 25th of the year. In there for a strike, 1-1. The Red Sox starters have held opponents to 3 earned runs or fewer in 22 of the team's last 28 games. And now Lester's given up 3 runs in his outing. That's strike 2. Inside, almost hit Goldschmidt, and it's blocked that time by Saltalamacchia. No advance at second for Hill.
Lester trying the breaking ball right there, and a nice pick by Saltalamacchia to keep Aaron Hill at second base. Lester's really had to work hard in this game tonight.
87th pitch of his outing. And it's ground ball to the right side as Pedroia would go to first. Nice job there by Goldschmidt to go in that direction to get the runner to third. Let's send it down to Jenny.
Well, Don, it is Jimmy Fun Month here at Fenway Park, and I am lucky enough to be sitting next to Justin, who is willing to share his story with us. So, Justin.
Hi, how's it going, everyone? Back in January of this year, I felt some symptoms going on. It was really tough for me to walk and do everyday activities, so I went down to Dana-Farber, and they diagnosed me with stage 4A lung cancer, and it was pretty unbelievable. And I later went on to do a open lung biopsy to find out more about my cancer. And about 3 weeks after my biopsy, they came back and told me that I had an ALK mutation, which roughly 5% of lung cancer patients have, and it opened up a ton of avenues for me. And I started a clinical trial for a new targeted therapy out, and it's been a really awesome road. I really don't have that many symptoms. I feel great, and it's right now I had a scan this morning at Dana-Farber, and it showed that 98% of my cancer is gone, and I'm doing great and getting better every day.
Well, that's incredible. We're so happy that you're able to be here with us today. What has your experience been like at Dana-Farber?
My experience at Dana-Farber has been great. They saved my life, to say the least. I was stage 4 before we knew about this clinical trial. It wasn't, looking that good. And I came back around, and I've been pushing forward every day. And now 98% of it's gone. I'm just going to strive to become a survivor. And, everyone that has cancer, Dana-Farber is the place to be if you want to beat this.
And as a big Red Sox fan, you were able to come out here and throw out the first pitch. What was that experience like for you?
Tonight has been unbelievable, to say the least. I still have chills. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience tonight. I'll never experience anything like it until you have all Fenway Park cheering for you and rooting for you, and you're up on that mound. It's nothing that I can even tell. You have to experience it for yourself. It's been awesome, and to have these seats tonight and to have everyone here supporting me, that is what has got me through this battle and made me want to push forward every day and beat this cancer, because people standing behind me have just been awesome supporters. I can't thank everyone enough for where I am today.
Well, Justin, we are all rooting for you 100%. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Back to you.
All right, Jay, thanks very much. Wish him well. Great story. As Martin Prado bats with the runner at third and slaps it foul off to the right. Prado grounded out in the first inning, doubled in the third, 1 for 2. Tying run 90 feet away here for the Diamondbacks. And that's in the dirt, full count.
Another good block by Saltalamacchia, this time with the man at third base. Lester trying to go to the curveball again, and once again Saltalamacchia has to go down and block it.
Fouled straight back. We'll do it again, 3-2. Cody Ross on deck with one out here in the top half of the 5th inning. Prado fouling off another. And the pitch total climbing for Lester. Ace Ticket brings you the pitching line. 4 1/3, 8 hits, 3 runs. No walks and 6 Ks for John Lester. Payoff pitch again. And Prado sends it out towards the gap in left center field. That's going to get down into the track and cut off by Ellsbury before it reaches the wall. From third scores Aaron Hill, and the Diamondbacks tie the score 4-4. It is the second double of the night for Martin Prado.
Well, the double last time in the third inning came on the fastball from Lester. This time it's the cut fastball. And again, John having a little difficulty getting that ball down around the ankles of those right-handed hitters. And that ball gets by Ellsbury, or to Ellsbury, very deep at the 379, and we're all tied at 4 here at Fenway.
Run in, 1 down. Prado at second base, and Cody Ross the batter. 2-hit night tonight in Cody's return to Fenway. Ross had a double in the first inning, a single in the third, and stole a base. Multi-hit games in 4 of his last 5 games. Strike 1. That was the 20th pitch of the inning for John Lester. 0-2.
That's more of the area right there where Lester wants that cut fastball. Bury those right-handers inside. That time Cody Ross swinging on top of the cutter.
Ross not chasing, a ball and 2 strikes. John Lester coming in with a record of 10-6, a 4.27 earned run average. His 23rd start of the year. At a 4-2 lead, it's now 4-4 as the Diamondbacks continue to bat here in the top of the 5th. Ross sends it out towards the gap in left center field. That's going to get down. Around from second base comes Prado. And to second with his 3rd hit of the night. And second RBI is Cody Ross as the Diamondbacks take a 5-4 lead.
Well, everything that Ross has hit tonight has been off speed. A fastball, a changeup back in the 1st inning, a changeup in the 3rd inning, and now a curveball for the RBI double here in the 5th inning. As the curveball from Lester, it is down, but Ross goes down with it and finds that gap in left center field. A number of baseballs hit in left center field tonight by Arizona.
6th 3-hit game of the year for Cody Ross. In scoring position with 1 out. And the Red Sox have action. Matt Thornton is up. Here's Jason Kubel, 0 for 2 in the game tonight. He is fouled out and struck out. Last time striking out looking. Drops in there for strike 1 on the curveball. Lester up over 100 pitches now in his outing with 1 out in the 5th. Kubel, the shift on, gets it through into right field for a base hit. Cody Ross being waved around, and Arizona takes a 6-4 lead.
Well, Kubel, one of the left-handers in there tonight against Lester, who picks up the base hit, his 1st of the night. Picks up his 28th RBI of the season. No chance at home plate for Victorino.
Kubel at first base. 3 runs in here for the Diamondbacks in the top of the 5th inning. And now Saltalamacchia headed out to talk to Lester.
I think trying to get the Thornton a little bit more time down in that bullpen.
And here comes John Farrell to make the change. So a 3-run top of the 5th inning so far for the Diamondbacks. Red Sox had a 4-2 lead. Now they trail 6-4 in this game with still only 1 out in the 5th, and Lester departs. game tonight for John Lester's chase from the game after just 4 1/3 innings. This call to the bullpen is brought to you on NESN by New England Ford dealers. As Matt Thornton comes into the game for Boston. His 49th appearance overall between Chicago and Boston this year. 0-4 with a 3.63 earned run average. 26 strikeouts to 12 walks, and opponents hitting at .264 against Matt Thornton. Worked out of a jam and threw a scoreless 11th inning on Wednesday night against Seattle. It was his 3rd straight scoreless appearance as he throws over to check on Jason Kubel. Since joining the Red Sox, he has given up 2 earned runs in 6 2/3. 2.70 ERA in a Red Sox uniform. It's his 9th appearance. This is chopped to first. Napoli goes up to get it. He'll go to second base for one. Back to first. Not in time. So Nieves is able to reach on the fielder's choice. They do force out Kubel at second base.
A nice leap right there by Napoli. The return throw to first base is going to be very close, but really, when you have the pitcher covering Thornton, not much of a stretch over there at first base to kind of get out closer to the throw. Thornton still questioning the call at first, but the safe call made.
So Nieves at first base now with 2 down in the inning. Gerardo Parra 0 for 2. So he takes strike 1 over the inside corner. Six of 8 appearances in a Red Sox uniform for Thornton have been scoreless since the trade on July the 12th. In there for strike 2. Parra's done the same thing twice. It's fly out to the Red Sox center fielder Jacoby Ellsbury. First in the 2nd and again in the 4th inning. Hits it on the ground, and diving to his left is Holt. Gets up. The throw will be late. And an infield hit by Parra. Good bid by Holt on the dive, but Parra beats it out.
It really had no option, no play at second base, so he had to go to first base. And, you know, by the time he dives, gets up and throws, it's not going to be in time at first. As Parra hustling all the way down the line to beat it out. So he picks up a base hit. 5th hit of the inning for the Diamondbacks.
There's Didi Gregorius 0 for 2. He struck out twice, both times against John Lester, as he takes strike 1 from Thornton. Only member of the starting 9 for the Diamondbacks not to have a base hit in the game. And leading the way is former Red Sox outfielder Cody Ross. There's 3 hits in the game and a couple of RBIs. Sixth 3-hit game of the year for Cody Ross in a Diamondbacks uniform. Gregorius with a swing and a miss, down 1-2. Runner at second, and Nieves still the responsibility of John Lester. Swing and a miss. Gregorius strikes out for the 3rd time tonight, but a 3-run top of the 5th inning puts Arizona on top 6-4. The base is covered in the break room with an all-star selection of food and beverage products. WB Mason will satisfy your cravings all day long. Who but WB Mason? Oh, a 6-4 lead now for Randall Delgado. Shane Victorino leads it off and takes strike one. Diamondbacks had a 2-0 lead. Then Delgado gave up 4 runs, 2 in the first, 2 in the second. And his offense has come back with a run in the third and 3 in the fifth. He'll pop up into shallow left. Cody Ross is there. And he makes the catch for the first out of the 5th inning.
Well, Daniel Day Kim got his hot dogs. We sent down a little bit earlier. He was on his way to get a souvenir, and then they were presented to his family. So 5-0 is well taken care of. I got a tweet between innings from Daniel Day Kim thanking me for the dogs.
What does he play in Hawaii 5-0?
I'm not sure what his official title is,
okay,
but he's a member of 5-0, and
he's part of the team.
You don't want to mess with the team. Believe me, it's a great show, terrific show.
Well, Dustin Pedroia 0 for 2. He is struck out and lined out to third base. Pedroia hits a fly ball to right field. Parra makes the catch, 2 down. So Dustin 0 for 3 in the game tonight. 2 quick outs here in the 5th inning. MLB.TV celebrates 11 years with new low yearly prices. Watch out-of-market games live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. 2 down, 3 in a row. Retired by Delgado. Big Poppy with a swing and a miss. And the changeup, he's seen a healthy diet of him tonight.
Yeah, ever since that first fastball he saw that he took out of the ballpark.
Look out. Ortiz dances out of the way. 2-1.
That's when the dance starts, right?
Right about there.
Like Don Orsillo on the dance floor right there.
Big Poppy ahead here, 3-1. 2-run home run, his 21st of the year, back in the first inning. Struck out swinging in the third. Ortiz with a swing and a miss.
3-1 changeup that time from Delgado, keeping the Red Sox off balance with that off-speed pitch.
And he strikes out Ortiz. A 1-2-3 5th inning for Delgado. A 6-4 Arizona lead. top out hitting the Red Sox 12-4 in the game. Hitting it off here in the 6th inning. Top of the order, A.J. Pollock. It's a two-hopper out to Pedroia at second base for the first out of the inning. We'll stay with NESN following our Sox coverage for NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Bring you a report from Patriots training camp, TC's Boston Buzz, and a recap of tonight's game here at Fenway. All that and more comes your way with Adam Pellerin and Jamie Erdahl tonight following our Sox coverage. Aaron Hill 2 for 3 in the game, a single in the first inning. Lined out to third in the second, and then doubled and scored in the 5th. Part of this offensive attack for the D-backs. Pedro Beato warming in the Boston pen. John Lester tonight lasts just 4 1/3 innings. Gives up 11 hits and 6 runs. Didn't walk anybody, struck out 6. This is a tough hop that is picked by Holt. Gets up and fires in time. Nice play by Brock Holt down at third base.
Tremendous play there by Brock Holt. That ball really exploded on him and came up on him. And he's able to snag it before it goes into left field. Look at that, how high that ball hopped on him. Able to get up quickly and make a good strong throw to Napoli to get the out.
Two down in the 6th inning now for Paul Goldschmidt. The All-Star flips one out into right field, and it falls in for a base hit. Picks up his second hit of the night. He had homered back in the first inning.
Right, going through a long drought, as we mentioned, coming into the game, 3 for 28, but the home run now an opposite field hit. 2 for 4 on the night. He can also run. He has 10 steals on the season. He's been caught twice.
It's only 2-out base runner here for Arizona. Here is Martin Prado. Grounded out in the first inning. Since then has doubled to center twice. Scoring in the 3rd inning and then in the 5th. Here's strike one. Time called very late. Very late.
A little too late that time by Kellogg. You could see no hand put up by Prado, but he was asking the umpire for timeout, and he did get it granted to him.
In there for strike 2. Ball and 2 strikes now to Prado. Jordan was able to get Pollock to ground out to second. Hill to ground out to third. Goldschmidt with a base hit to right. So 1 on, 2 away here in the Arizona 6th inning. Down the right field line, foul.
Thornton going away with the fastball, and a pretty good job fouling that off for Prado. Amica Insurance is the proud sponsor of the Amica Pitch Zone.
On the ground to the backhand goes Napoli. He'll throw to second, and they're able to get the lead runner and end the inning. 5.5 done at 6-4 Arizona. Six to 4 Arizona on top of Boston as we play into the bottom of the 6th inning. Mike Napoli, Daniel Nava, Jared Saltalamacchia expected here in the bottom of the 6th as Randall Delgado back on the mound, and Napoli a swing and a miss for strike one. Mike tonight struck out in the 1st inning, singled to center field in the 4th. 1 for 2 night for the Red Sox first baseman. Sox got 2 in the 1st off Delgado and 2 in the 2nd, but have not scored since. They had a golden opportunity in the 4th inning. Bases loaded, 1 out, could not score as Delgado got out of it. This is out to right center, and a base hit for Napoli, who gets his 2nd hit of the night.
That 2nd time Napoli's going up the middle, once on the ground for a base hit, this time on the line for a base hit. So the Red Sox got it right where they want them, right? They're behind in the ball game, getting deep into the game. Time to make their move.
Well, they want to wait a little while, a little later into the game.
I like to get things done a little bit earlier than last night.
So Napoli's on to start the bottom of the 6th inning. And here's Daniel Nava, who has been on twice tonight without the benefit of a base hit. Reached on an error in the 2nd, was hit by a pitch in the 4th inning. Strike over the inside corner. Tied up 1-1 in the 7th now at the Trop in St. Pete. Giants and Rays. Napoli crossing over to get back to the bag. He's getting a lot of attention. Nava fouls it off to the left, and Delgado jumps ahead 0-2. Nava grounds it foul. Randall Delgado, 5+ innings now, 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 of them are earned. Walk and 6 Ks. They were committed by Didi Gregorius in the second inning. Led to 2 unearned runs. Up high for ball 1. Jared Saltalamacchia on deck. Red Sox batting here in the home half of the 6th inning, trailing by 2. Swing and a miss, and Nava strikes out. This is the 7th strikeout on the night now for Delgado.
Now Delgado that time elevating the fastball against Nava. Nava asking the home plate umpire Kellogg if that ball was in the strike zone. Hitters will do that when they swing at a pitch that they think is questionable. Right at the top of the strike zone.
Well, the Giants have taken a 4-1 lead now over Tampa Bay at the Trop. So good news coming out of St. Pete. There's Saltalamacchia, 1 for 2 in the game. As he takes strike 1. Jared doubled off the wall in left field in the second inning. Struck out swinging in the 4th inning. It's a high fly ball out to deep right center field. Back goes Pollock and Parra, and it's going to be Pollock who makes the catch in the triangle. And racing back to first is Napoli. He'll get there a little bit to the right, and that ball would have been into the bullpen.
Yeah, if he just had hooked it a little bit more, you're talking about a tie score. Instead, a very long out for Jared Saltalamacchia. Nice play here by Pollock to go right up against the wall and make that catch.
Two down here in the inning. Stephen Drew in a sac fly in the second inning. Walked in the 4th. 3rd plate appearance of the night. Delgado trying to work his way around a leadoff single by Mike Napoli. Napoli at first base now with 2 down in the inning. This is hit well out towards deep right center field, back towards the bullpen, and it will be gone. So Drew puts it in the pen. A 2-run shot ties the game at 6.
Drew has had some huge hits for the Red Sox recently. This the latest. Home run number 8 on the season for Stephen Drew. So Saltalamacchia just missed one. Drew finds the bullpen. Fastball right down the middle at 90 miles an hour. Now Brock Holt with a swing and a miss for strike 1.
So the Red Sox with 2 home runs in the game tonight. They've gone deep 116 times. With it, Hess and Hess Express donates $500 more to the pediatric trauma program at Boston Children's Hospital, bringing the season total to $58,000. Hess and Hess Express committed to helping the cause. Outside for ball 2. No action yet for Arizona in their pen. Holt fouls it back, 2-2. Home run number 8 of the year for Stephen Drew. 3 RBIs in the game tonight. There is action now in the pen. Will Harris is up for Arizona. Just did start to warm. Holt protecting the plate, fouls that off. Top of the Red Sox order, Jacoby Ellsbury on deck. Charles Nagy on the phone to the pen. This is line to the shortstop, Gregorius, who makes the catch and ends the inning. 2-run home run for Stephen Drew. Red Sox have tied the score. In the month of July, as the Red Sox have a 1-game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays heading into tonight's game. Red Sox have come back here to tie this game. Tied at 6 as Pedro Beato comes from the bullpen. Third arm used tonight for Boston. 9th appearance, 1-0. The 2.45 earned run average. 3 strikeouts, a walk, and opponents hitting at .233 against Beato. Takes over for Matt Thornton, who ends up going an inning and 2/3. Gave up 2 hits but no runs. Didn't walk anybody and struck out a batter. Cody Ross leading it off here for Arizona in the 7th inning. fly ball to deep left field for Cody Ross. Back goes Nava, and that ball is gone. Home run number 7 of the year for Cody Ross, and he is now 4 for 4 in this game as Arizona gets back on top 7-6. He's having some kind of return to Fenway Park tonight.
Now that time a breaking ball to Cody Ross. 3 RBIs on the night, 2 doubles, a single, and now the home run. And he hooked that ball. That ball was away.
Now John Farrell's going to come out and argue that the fan reached over. And he is talking to the home plate umpire, Jeff Kellogg, and we'll see if they check this out or what they're going to do. They're going to get together, that's for sure, here in the beginning. We'll see if they review it. Worth a shot, I guess, if you're John Farrell in this situation.
Well, let's get another look at it and see. A fan did reach over, but I think that ball would have been gone anyway.
They're going to go into the umpire's room to review it.
I think that will be ruled a home run.
Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire, is the crew chief. And I agree with you. So we'll see if Jeff Kellogg agrees with us. Let's send it down to Jenny.
Well, Don, I spoke with Cody Ross earlier, and he's expressed his excitement of being back here in Boston and said he had a little extra motivation facing his former teammates. Clearly, you see it tonight, 4 for 4 night. He said he's often asked about what it was like playing with this 2012 Red Sox club, and he said being a part of it and how it all went down, and seeing and hearing how it is now, I would assume it's like night and day. But Don, he told me that he's glad that they got their clubhouse back on track.
It was part of a very difficult season last year. And as I mentioned earlier, it was certainly one of the positives last year for the Red Sox. And he is a positive tonight for Arizona as he is 4 for 4 in the game. He's homer to put the Diamondbacks back on top here in the 7th inning. Umpires are in the midst of reviewing this, what appears to be a home run for Cody Ross.
I'd be very surprised if they come out and say anything but a home run. There's no question a fan reached over, but not over to interfere with it being a home run. Yeah, that's certainly got the distance.
That's pretty definitive right there. Regardless, it is taking them some time.
That's quite a walk, I guess, to the where they're going to view this. And they're coming back out now, and I think we'll see the home run sign.
Home run. So 7-6, Arizona on top. I'll remind you to stay with Nesson after the game for WB Mason Extra Innings Live. TC and Tim Wakefield to break down the game. Jenny will bring you clubhouse reaction. WB Mason Extra Innings Live. Can't go wrong when you buy right. WB Mason. There's Jason Kubel. Kubel is fouled out, struck out, and singled to drive in a run. Now the first batter that Pedro Beato faces takes him deep. Cody Ross with a home run. Pitch in there for a strike now to Kubel.
Cody Ross hitting a pretty good pitch too. A breaking ball that was away from him. He hooked it out of the ballpark.
Beato last worked on Tuesday night against Seattle. Allowed a run on 2 hits in his last outing. Ball cranked foul just outside the bag at first. in on the hands, and Kubel fights it off foul. 2-2. Red Sox in the shift on the right side as Brock Holt moves from third base over to the second base spot, and Dustin Pedroia out in short right field. Kubel hits a fly ball out to left center field over his Ellsbury, and he'll make the catch for the first out in the top of the 7th. Well, this game summary is brought to you by Xfinity from Comcast. Delgado, the starter, 6 innings, 6 hits, and 4 earned runs of the 6 that he has allowed in the game. Goldschmidt with a home run, as does Cody Ross, and Cody Ross 4 for 4 in the game. John Lester, a tough night tonight, as he hung around for just 4 1/3, charged with 6 runs. Seen Matt Thornton and now Pedro Beato pitch. David Ortiz hit a 2-run home run as part of a 2-run first inning for Boston. Shortest outing of the season for John Lester tonight. Here's Will Nieves. Got a single back in the second, a 1-for-3 night. Well, that is into center field. His second hit of the night, and that is the 15th hit of the ball game for Arizona.
Well, we told you their offense was pretty darn good, coming in 5th in the league in runs scored, and they are putting some hits on the board tonight, as Don mentioned, 15 of them. Fastball right by Beato in the center field for the base hit, so 2 for 4 for Nieves.
One out, Nieves at first base. Gerardo Parra got a single in the 5th inning, a 1-for-3 game. Up and away, 2-0. Beato called up on July the 10th. This is his 3rd major league stint of 2013. The Paw Sox this year had been 5-3 with 2 saves. 2.18 earned run average at AAA. Fly ball to shallow left. Out goes Drew. In comes Nava, and Nava will make the catch for the second out of the inning. Well, attention Red Sox Nation, you can help support the Jimmy Fund's fight against cancer at your local Dunkin' Donuts. Stop into participating Dunkin' restaurants between now and August 4th. Donate $1 and you'll receive a cup cutout to display your name in store. The Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins Community Foundation and the Jimmy Fund thank you for your support. 2 outs in the 7th. Will Nieves held on at first base by Mike Napoli, and here comes Didi Gregorius. That kind of a tough night. He made an error defensively and has struck out at the plate 3 times.
That first chance he gets tonight to face a right-handed pitcher.
Arizona so far on the road this season, they're 25-29 and 4-5 in interleague play. Beato falls behind 2-1. Gibson giving the signs from the dugout. 3-1 is fouled back. As taken off that time was Nieves. It will be again with 2 outs and a full count. And Napoli's going to play in behind Nieves. The full count and 2 down. Payoff pitch to Gregorius. And he stays alive. He's already struck out 3 times tonight, trying to avoid it again, and he fouls off a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Popped up, foul off to the left, out of play. Gregorius fouls off another.
A little better at bat here against the right-hand of Gregorius than he did against the lefties. They can be out to throw a lot of pitches to him.
Top of the order, A.J. Pollock waiting on deck here for Arizona. Swing and a miss. Strikes out for the 4th time tonight. Home run for Cody Ross has Arizona on top 7-6. Our baseball movie poll results following our Sox coverage on NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Now it is 7-6 now. Arizona on top of Boston as we head into the bottom of the 7th inning. And J.J. Putz into the game here for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Former closer, 25 appearances already on the year, 2-1 with a 2.95 earned run average, 23 strikeouts at 13 walks. Opponents hitting at 221. Putz comes in for Delgado, who went the first 6 innings in this game. They gave up 6 hits and 6 runs. 4 were earned. walked 1 and struck out 7. Here's Jacoby Ellsbury, 1 for 3 in the game, a triple back in the first inning, and a run scored. Woods is not allowed to run in his last 9 appearances. 7 1/3 innings. Needs 12 saves for 200. Former closer of the Seattle Mariners. It was something when he was coming into games in Seattle.
Yeah, for a couple of years there was quite an event.
Lightning and all kinds of stuff going on. Had 101 saves as a member of the Mariners in 6 seasons with Seattle. He has 82 saves with the Diamondbacks. 16 behind Jose Valverde, who has the most in Diamondbacks history. Pitch down and in, and it's 3-1. This is a hard hit on the ground, but Goldschmidt picks it on the backhand and tags the bag for the first out of the bottom of the 7th inning. Are you a leader of a group of 20 or more? If so, a Red Sox game at Fenway Park is the perfect place for your next outing. Call 617-226-6835 to talk with a group ticket representative to plan the perfect trip to Fenway Park. So one down here in the 7th inning. Victorino takes strike 1. Shane's 0 for 3 in the game. Shane grounded out in the first inning. Fly to right in the 3rd. Fly to left in the 5th inning. Action now in the pen. Joe Thatcher, left-hander up for Arizona. See Heath Belder in the back as well. They have 2 lefties in their pen. Joe Thatcher, who you just saw warming, and Tony Sipp, formerly the Cleveland Indians. Puts with a 1-2 pitch to Victorino. Up and away, ball 2.
What's that fastball that can be at times overpowering, a slider and a split-fingered fastball. Last pitch was a splitter at 86. Slipping out of his hand right there as it was high and away to Victorino.
This is line fair down the 3rd base line, hits the fan and goes into the seats for a ground rule double. So Victorino will head to second base here with 1 out in the 7th inning.
Well, Victorino gets that breaking ball away and slaps it the other way. And the ball's going to spin in toward the stands, bounces up and into the stands for the ground rule double.
Tying run in scoring position for the Red Sox here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Dustin Pedroia 0 for 3. He struck out, lined out, and flied out. In there for a strike, 1-1. Both pens are busy right now. Thatcher's been joined by Heath Bell. Red Sox have Shinichi Tozawa in their pen. Saves have been spread around pretty good on the Diamondbacks, but it is Bell who has the most on the season. He's got 15. But the guy in the game right now, J.J. Putz, has 5. Brad Ziegler, formerly the A's, is the current closer. And Ziegler has 5.
Kind of a rotating door down there for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Reynolds has 2 saves. Hernandez has 2 saves. Two-one pitch to Pedroia. Dustin hits a fly ball to right field, sending Parra back. He will make the catch as Victorino tags and heads for third base. Throw is cut off, and the tying run now 90 feet away with 2 outs in the 7th inning.
And we'll see now if Ortiz gets a swing off a right-hander. They do have left-handed action in the bullpen.
Gibson will make the move here for the left-hander. With 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning, tying run at third base. Right now, Arizona has a 7-6 lead. Thatcher on his way in. put the fun in theme parks across the Northeast. Visit FWWeb.com for more info about this proud sponsor of the Boston Red Sox. That's FWWeb. 2 down in the 7th inning with a runner at third base for Boston. Joe Thatcher into the game now for Arizona. 51st appearance of the year, 3-1 with a 2.10 earned run average. 29 strikeouts, only 4 walks, and opponents hitting at 243 against Thatcher. Comes in to face David Ortiz. David hit a 2-run home run in the first inning. Since then has struck out twice. Ortiz takes a pitch inside for ball 1.
That's a little bit nasty from that angle down there from Thatcher. And a sidearm delivery. Tried to spin the breaking ball to Ortiz.
David fouls it off. JJ Puts responsible for the runner at third base in Shane Victorino. He allowed a 1-out double. Victorino's at third with 2 down. Ortiz with a swing and a miss. Ortiz bloops one. Back at third. Prado on the run will get there and make the catch. Martin Prado with a nice grab. And Shane Victorino is left at third base. We head for the 8th. 7-6 Arizona. Top half of the 8th inning. Arizona on top 7-6 as Pedro Beato back out on the mound here to begin the 8th. Pitched the 7th, gave up a leadoff home run to Cody Ross, which is the difference in the game right now. A.J. Pollock leading it off here, the top of the Arizona Diamondbacks order. It's a fly ball to center field, playable for Jacoby Ellsbury. 1 down in the inning. NESN's coverage of Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines, Subaru of New England, and by Sullivan Tire and Auto Centers. Well, these aerial views are brought to you by Hood, the official dairy of the Boston Red Sox. Follow the Hood Blimp on Facebook and Twitter at Hood Blimp. Well, John Farrell out to make a change here with 1 out in the 8th inning. That's tonight for Pedro Beato, as the Red Sox trail 7-6 from Fenway. Walking Club. Sign up today and get a cool wristband. Plus everything you need to start a walking program for better health. Find out more at vidmc.org. Let's send it down to Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, we just want to remind fans at home to vote in our AT&T text poll question of the night, and we're asking fans what is the best baseball movie at all times. We asked last night, and the winners last night were Field of Dreams and Major League. We're having the playoffs here tonight, so please text in 536-536. We're going to track these all night long. You'll have the results of tonight's contest at the Nesson Sports Today later this evening, and the championship will be tomorrow night. Don?
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. Sandlot hanging in right now at 40%. One out here in the 8th inning as Shinichi Tozawa takes over for the Red Sox. Tozawa's 49th appearance of the year, 4-3, 3.11 earned run average, 51 strikeouts, 8 walks, and opponents hitting at 274. Comes in to face Aaron Hill. He'll take strike one. Aaron Hill with 2 hits tonight, a single in the 1st inning. He scored, he doubled, and scored in the 5th inning. Strike 2. Pedro Beato in an inning and a third, 2 hits, a run, the home run by Cody Ross. Didn't walk anybody, struck out a batter, and right now on the hook for the Red Sox. In the air to shallow right center, bringing Ellsbury in. 2 down. Brings up Paul Goldschmidt. 2-hit performance tonight. 2-run home run back in the 1st and a single in the 6th inning. A couple of RBIs and now 88 RBIs to go along with his 25 home runs. On the outside corner for strike 1. Gonna yank that one down and away. 1-1. Red Sox in the last of the 8th inning will be expecting Napoli, Nava, and Saltalamacchia to bat. Goldschmidt fouls it off to the right. 1-2. Tozawa throwing at 94 miles an hour right now.
That last fastball, the best velocity he's shown since being in the game at 94.
Another foul to the right. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Elevated at 94 miles an hour. Goldschmidt chases. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Red Sox trailing by a run. We'll donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon for every game saved this season. For quality, choice, and value, nobody beats Bob. Visit mybobs.com to learn more. 7-6, Arizona on top of Boston. As the Red Sox come to bat here in the last half of the 8th inning against Heath Bell. Former closer who has 15 saves this year. Comes in with a record of 2-1, 3.83 earned run average. Opponent's hitting at .275 against Bell. Red Sox saw him in Miami when he was a member of the Marlins. Mike Napoli leading it off here in the bottom of the 8th. There's strike one. In May, Heath Bell took over the closer role from J.J. Putz when he went on the DL. Putz came back, was the closer again, but now it is Brad Ziegler, former Oakland A, who is the closer of this team at the moment. Napoli reaches out, fouls it off to the right, out of play. Two to Napoli. A little bit low for ball one. Joe Thatcher retired the only batter he faced, David Ortiz, to end the 7th inning. Red Sox had Shane Victorino at third base with 2 down, but could not score him. Inside, and Napoli gets hit to begin things in the 8th. The pitch runner come out here for Napoli.
Yeah, Heath Bell trying to bury Napoli inside. Instead, he gets a piece of Napoli, and the Red Sox get the leadoff man on here in the 8th inning.
Brandon Snyder is going to pinch run. So tying run at first, nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th. And Daniel Nava, the batter, reached on an error in the 2nd, hit by a pitch in the 4th, struck out in the 6th inning. Diamondbacks with 19 blown saves this season. It's not been their best time of the game. Late in games, there's a pitch in there for strike one.
And they've got a lot of guys with experience in that role.
Second most in the National League. Trying to hold on to a 1-run lead tonight. Nava hits one to short. Gregorius to second for 1, on to first for 2. Double play turned by the Diamondbacks. Hit right at Gregorius. It's short, and he was headed towards the bag at second.
Yeah, the underhand flip to his second baseman, Aaron Hill, and they turn over the double play. Got the nice hop about belt high, and running across that bag was Aaron Hill to turn the 2.
Two outs in the 8th for Jared Saltalamacchia. Doubled in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th, and flied out to the warning track in the 6th inning. In there for strike one. Keith Bell last year with Miami ended up with 19 saves. Not too good though. 19 out of 27 opportunities last year in Miami. Had a 5.09 earned run average last season. Ended up appearing in 73 games with the Marlins. It's only a year in Miami. The Red Sox did face him. Prior to that, the 5 seasons in San Diego. One-two foul back. Still 1-2. Don't forget, Essence post-game coverage of the Sox begins right after the game with WB Mason Extra Innings Live. Tim Wakefield joins TC to bring you the highlights, and Jenny will bring you reaction from the players. WB Mason Extra Innings Live. Can't go wrong when you buy right. WB Mason. 2 outs in the 8th. Jared Saltalamacchia with a count of 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Last year, Bell he had 47 saves for the Padres in 2010. And a 1.93 earned run average that year. 3 times went over 40 saves with the Padres. 42, 47, and 43.
Last 2 fastballs at 95, trying to get Saltalamacchia to chase upstairs, up and away.
Three-two pitch. In there for strike 3. Red Sox are gone in the 8th. We head to the 9th. 7-6 Arizona. For every Red Sox home run this season. Sox have now hit 116 home runs, bringing the total in donations to 58,000. Our thanks to Hess and Hess Express, committed to helping the cause. David Ortiz, Stephen Drew with those home runs in the game tonight. As we play into the 9th inning, Brandon Snyder takes over at first base for Mike Napoli after he pinch ran for Napoli. Martin Prado leading it off for Arizona here in the 9th inning. And Prado takes ball 1. A couple of doubles tonight for Prado. Double to center in the 3rd, double to center in the 5th, and he has scored twice. Shinichi Tozawa coming in the 8th inning with 1 out. He was able to get Aaron Hill to fly out to center and Goldschmidt to strike out, the 2 batters he has faced. Left side ranging is Holt. Nice play. And Brock Holt's made a few good defensive plays, ranging to his left this time for the first out of the 9th.
Brock Holt's had a very nice night defensively down at third base. As a matter of fact, every game he's played, he's had very good games defensively down at third base.
Well, Cody Ross has not made an out yet tonight. He is 4 for 4 in the game. He has doubled, singled, doubled, and homered. Triple sigh of the cycle tonight as he has scored 3 runs. The home run, his 7th of the year, and his return to Fenway Park. Ross takes ball 1. San Francisco has beaten Tampa Bay tonight 4-1 as that game goes final in St. Pete. This is grounded up over the mound. Stephen Drew on the run and in time as he gets Cody Ross. First time Ross has been retired tonight. 2 down. Send it down to Jenny.
Well, Don, something that everyone now knows, this team has confidence going through the 9th. Shane Victorino said last night, we just keep playing until there's 27 outs, and Dustin Pedroia backed it up, saying we're going to go hard until the end. And as manager John Farrell said the other night, the energy that this team gets deep into the game is so impressive, and we're hoping to see that again in the 9th.
Well, the Red Sox will have Stephen Drew, Brock Holt, and Jacoby Ellsbury scheduled to bat in the inning. Jason Kubel, the batter, and he'll take ball 1. Closer up now for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Brad Ziegler. He's converted each of his last 5 save chances, all since July the 4th. A little bloop out to center field. Ellsbury racing in, and he'll fall in front of him for a 2-out base hit. Second hit of the night for Jason Kubel. Breaks up a string for Red Sox pitching of 7 Diamondbacks in a row retired.
Now Kubel drove a run in back in the 5th inning. Picked up his 28th RBI. Now he picks up his 2nd hit of the game. A 2 for 5 night for Kubel. Ellsbury putting the charge on, but has to pull up and play it on 1 hop.
And have a pinch runner at first base for Kubel. So Adam Eaton is going to run. Here's Will Nieves. 2 hits tonight, single to left, single to center. Eaton with a good lead at first base. He's got to get that open stance as a pitch in the dirt for ball one. Heaton, the pinch runner, trying to get into scoring position here with 2 down in the ninth and grab some insurance here for Arizona. The strike evens it count at 1-1 to Nieves. Nieves now, Parra on deck. There are 2 outs here in the top half of the ninth. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Good split thing and fastball that time by Tazawa, never really in the strike zone. And Nieves chases it. Amica Insurance is the proud sponsor of the Amica Pit Zone.
Outside for ball 2. Chop foul. We'll do it again. 2-2. John Lester started the game his shortest outing of the year, 4 1/3, giving up 6 runs. That Thornton an inning and 2/3. Pedro Beato inning and a third. He's charged with a run. The home run by Cody Ross, which is the difference in the game right now. Is Beato on the hook at the moment. Eaton has not tried to steal first base yet. And here's a 2-2 pitch. And a chopper to third. Tough hop. Holt's got it, and he'll fire to first for the out. Nice play. Kind of exploded on him. Red Sox need a run as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Gomes came through in the clutch again last night. An RBI single in the ninth to drive in the tying run. Gomes has a flair for the dramatic this season, hitting .417 in the ninth with 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and a .517 on base percentage. Both of his ninth inning homers have been walk-offs. Gomes' efforts are recognized by Firestone, who knows what it's like to help drivers go the extra mile. It is 7-6, Arizona on top of Boston as we head into the bottom of the ninth. Brad Ziegler, his 55th appearance of the year. And his first pitch is outside for ball 1 to Stephen Drew. Drew has a sac fly in the game, a walk, and a 2-run home run. Ball and a strike now to Stephen Drew. Ziegler broke into the big leagues with the Oakland A's, 4 seasons with Oakland. Half a season with Arizona, a year and a half with Arizona now. This is into right field, a base hit to get the bottom of the ninth started.
Stephen Drew's had a big night, a 2-run home run, a sacrifice fly back in the second inning, and a hit to lead off the ninth inning. See if how the Red Sox play this now with the number 9 hit a hold to play. Will they sacrifice Drew to second base?
Martin Prado in on the grass at third base, anticipating that possibility. Goldschmidt holds on. Drew at first. He did offer at it for strike 1. Red Sox have their closer up, Koji Uehara. Once it foul, and Holt cannot get it down. 0-2.
Well, sometimes managers will keep it on. No balls and 2 strikes. See how Farrell plays this.
Keep it on, but he pulls it back and takes a ball. 1-2.
It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen on occasion, and certainly the case that time.
Strikes out looking for the first out of the ninth inning. So he can't get the bunt down, cannot get the runner to move along.
Fouled a couple off and took this pitch right down the middle of the plate. Well, actually to the outside corner, but still with 2 strikes, you have to make an attempt at it.
1 on, 1 out. Jacoby Ellsbury, the batter. Had a triple back in the first inning, scored a run. Since then, he has struck out, flied out, and grounded out. Ellsbury takes ball 1. Just away. 2-0. Ziegler has converted each of his last 5 save opportunities, all since July the 4th. He's not allowed an earned run in 10 straight outings. That's in 10 innings. Left to first does not even get Drew to go back to the bag. Ellsbury lines it into right field for a base hit. Drew will go to second base as Parra gets it back in quickly. A base hit for Ellsbury. And the tying run in scoring position now for Boston here in the ninth.
Now Ellsbury, who extended his inning streak to 8 games back in the first inning with a triple, adds this single of the ninth. And the ball was hit so hard. A good job by Parra charging it. Drew has to stop at second base, but the Red Sox too have the potential tying run in scoring position. Johnny Gold's doing a little coaching of his own in the dugout.
So runners at first and second, one out, and Shane Victorino coming up. Victorino 1 for 4 in the game, a double in the 7th inning. One of the 9 hits the Red Sox have. Outside for ball 1. 0 for 4 against Ziegler is Victorino. Strike called, 1-1. That pitch appeared away.
Yeah, Victorino did not like the call, and you're right. That didn't even seem to be close to being a strike.
Tying run at second, winning run at first in Ellsbury. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Victorino fouls it off, and he's down 1-2. Dustin Pedroia on deck, 1 out here in the ninth. Victorino blips it to shallow left. Ross is there, and he makes the catch. No advance for the base runners. That is the second out of the ninth.
That time Ziegler going to the slider, the breaking ball that time to get the fly ball out to left field. Victorino saw a changeup and a breaking ball in that at bat.
So it is up to Dustin Pedroia with 2 down in the ninth inning. 0 for 4 tonight. Strikeout, line out, 2 flyouts to right. Ball 1. 2 for 4 in his career against Ziegler. Swing and a miss. The 1-1 pitch. Roller down the third baseline. Ziegler bare hands and throws in time, and the ball game is over. Not tonight for the Red Sox. Ziegler able to shut down the Red Sox in the ninth as 2 reach, as the Red Sox drop the first game of this 3-game series. And Tom Caron, no magic tonight from Fenway.